Friedrich Merz has urged the West to stay united on the Ukraine conflict in his first speech to Parliament. Merz stressed the importance of coordination between European and American allies, rejecting a dictated peace or status quo set by Russian forces. He thanked U.S. President Trump for his support in pushing for a ceasefire in Ukraine and called for peace negotiations. Merz also prioritized strengthening Germany's military, making it Europe's strongest conventional army. He voiced concern over the Russia-China alliance and reaffirmed a tough stance on migration within EU agreements. Merz pledged reforms and investment to reboot Germany's economy and avoid a prolonged trade conflict with the US. On climate policy, Merz outlined a pragmatic approach, focusing on carbon pricing. He said revenues would be returned directly to citizens and businesses, while energy policy would focus on affordability and security. As a first step, his government will cut electricity taxes to provide immediate relief. We go back to Ross Feingold, political analyst, joining live from Taipei. Ross, what do you make of Merz's first speech as the German chancellor?
A lot of the goals that he spoke about in his speech, frankly, are very similar to the goals of the previous government that he replaced. The previous government being led by a left-of-center chancellor. Now it's switched to a right-of-center chancellor. But it seems that the goals, whether that's domestic policy, spurring economic growth, foreign policy, dealing with Ukraine or dealing with China, a lot of the similarities there. It's pretty much a centrist position. We know the main item on the list for the German chancellor is to spur economic growth. And that's what voters were most frustrated about and why they voted for a change in leadership to Merz from Scholz. And we'll have to see if he could deliver. But again, I think most of his goals are fairly centrist. We're not seeing too much of a swing to conservative policies. They're mostly centrist policies.
And how is Chancellor Merz working to prevent a long-term trade clash between Germany and the United States?
I think like a lot of countries, he's going to look to make a deal with the United States. Of course, being a member of the EU, there's some overlap in that the EU also has to make a deal with the United States. He's going to try to start off with a good relationship with the Trump administration. I think the Trump administration doesn't really know much about him, so in a way that's an advantage for Merz. He's not coming in with a history of being critical of the United States or critical of Donald Trump per se. So that's advantageous. He's already had a phone call with Secretary of State Rubio a few days ago. So there's probably, I think we could probably say there's a positive start with the United States, but there's certainly a lot of issues, whether that's trade related or Ukraine related, that could really cause some friction in that relationship going forward.
And how might Merz's plans to boost Germany's economy, or what do we know about his plans for now?
German economic success has always been based on its ability to export its goods. The world has high regard for German products, whether that's automobiles, machinery, or other products. So they need to get that export engine growing again or moving again. And that'll be a big challenge given we have so much protectionism in the world. And the world, in many parts of the world, we're getting away from free trade. We have concerns about doing business in China. That's not unique to the United States. It's also a concern of Germany and other countries in the European Union as well. They talk about de-risking from China, but on the other hand, China has been a huge export market for Germany, specifically for automobiles. So we kind of know what the questions or the issues are for the German economy. We don't really know what all the solutions are.
Thank you for joining us. And well, that's all we have time for. We will continue